This, my friends, is a very horrible job. It's actually worse than doing the races and the bearings. But this stuff's all got to come off because I found a bunch of it pulling back. And getting this off, like with everything else, prep is going to be the most important thing. I will tell you in a little while what I used, but you need to do your own research because there's about 1 million different suggestions for how to get old caulk off. And I spent a lot of time kind of perusing things because if you can see right here, this is decal, right? And when they did the roof, I think they boogered things up a little bit when they were removing this. And I'm gonna have to go up around that rail too, and that just looks terrible there. I don't know why they did a shitty job like that. But anyway, everything's gonna look bad after a few years. So I'm gonna take care of that. I've already done the other side, and hey, we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay, it is as good as I'm gonna get it. Getting all the old stuff off, the old caulk off. And it's kind of a nightmare. Anyway, that's got to end the opposite side. So I'm waiting for some supplies, and they should come today, and then I'm going to do it, and I will show you the finished product, even though it'll probably look like an aberration. Although I will say this, it can't look any worse than it was. And the main thing is just getting it watertight. So that's it for now. Stay tuned. Here's my helper today. Are you a good helper? Are you a good girl? That's been good. But as always, I have to watch her. All right, so I came out today and I taped off the area on both sides that I want to do. And we got a storm coming too, by the way, or so they say. It's probably tonight if it's gonna happen. But I did this side already, and I've got to say, God, I think it looks better than they did at the factory. I mean, man, I was prepared for it to kind of look like crap, but this really looks good. So on to the next side. I will say this, I'm using this sensitive touch tape, so because it's going up against decals, and I don't want to rip a decal off or anything like that. And I'm using Sika 221 black. I don't know, people use all kinds of different things online, and this is kind of where I settled. And I'm gonna apply this side now, and you can watch, but probably won't see a lot. And I tried using a plastic glove, and all that did was put ridges in it. So I'm just gonna keep using my finger and getting my hands black and worry about cleaning them off later. Okay, that is the finished product on this side, and I have to say I am pretty impressed. I'll have to go up and do a little touch-up work probably at some point, but I think it looks pretty good. You can actually see where the decal is off a little bit on that side, or under the drip rail. I'll take care of that. And then right here, that looks very professional. So I'm very happy. All right, that's it for putting a bead of silicone, if that's indeed what the 221 Sikaflex is. I believe it is. But do your own research. There's so many different sealants out there, and so many different people recommend different things. I didn't want to go back to using ProFlex. It's just so hard to work with, and no matter what I've done in the past to make it look good, it always ended up looking terrible, and it's, you know, a pain to remove. This was very easy to tool, but don't make the mistake I made, and I'd get some gloves, some decent ones. I don't know why these didn't work that well. When I was tooling with the gloves on it, it made the caulk have lines in it that looked pretty unattractive, so I ended up just using water on my finger and going like that. But that stuff is almost impossible to get off, so I would definitely get a good pair of gloves. You're also going to need to get the old stuff off the scraper, and you'll have to be really, really careful how you use it, because you don't want to rip your decals. And I used Acrysol to soften up the old silicone on there, but I will say this, I didn't go spraying it on. I used a towel, and I soaked the towel down, then I folded it so it just had a very thin edge, and I would run that along the caulk, because the last thing I wanted to do is start bringing decals up. So that worked actually fairly well. And if I got into tight spots, and I actually took a Q-tip and soaked it in Acrysol and wiped it on, and the stuff came off pretty good. Now, when I got to the point where I was taping, which usually on most of the stuff I do on the trailer, I don't tape, but on the cap, I wanted to make sure that I, you know, hit certain areas, and I didn't want to just kind of leave it to chance at how it covered, especially since that's such a visible area. So this is called, this is made by Scotch. It's their number 2080. It's called Delicate Surface Tape. Now you could probably use painter's tape or whatever, but I'll tell you why I selected this. When you're going up on top of decals and then you're going to start pulling that tape off, I just did not want to pull anything up. I wanted to make sure that whatever I used, I didn't have that concern that I was going to bring something I didn't want to bring up off the surface of the trailer. So I used this. Boy, it's a really good tape. It was pretty easy to use, and it came off real nice. So I have no complaints about that. Also, the Sikaflex 221 was, like I said, pretty easy to use too. So, like everything else in when you're working on, whether it's, you know, a project at home or whatever, it's always the prep part of the job that is the hardest. So, getting the old silicone off probably took me about, I would say, at least an hour aside, probably more like an hour and a half aside. I didn't really expect it to take that long, but it did. And a lot of that is just going over areas again where you can actually feel some old silicone on it and getting it all cleared off, because silicone won't, you know, affix the silicone. So the taping, I thought that would be easy, and it would take about a half an hour aside, and it took longer than that. And keep in mind there were 2 strips on each side. That was probably about 45 minutes to an hour on each side, just because I was being real careful of the curves that were involved. I wanted to make sure I got everything covered right. Also had to go up on top and take some more old caulking off, because where those rails come up to the drip, I don't know what you call it, the drip rail, where they come up and then it starts going down the cap. That was really a messy job up there, from when they did the roof, and I don't fault them too much, because I can see why it would be an ugly mess to do that big part of that rail up there coming down, to where the water runs off the drip rail. But I had to tear that all apart, and get the Acrysol and go over all that stuff and get that clean before I could start. So it added a lot of time on. The caulking was actually the easiest part of the job. It doesn't take that long to do a side once you get going. If all I had to do, if I hadn't had to deal with those upper rail parts and I just had to come down, it would have been really quick. It would have probably been like 10 minutes on each side. So it probably took me maybe 15 minutes on each side to get that done and tooled, and I think it looks great. Time will tell how it holds up. I'll keep an eye on it and let you guys know. And I think that's it. It's probably on my beer scale a 1 beer job, but it's the dirtiest 1 beer job you're ever going to do. And other than that, though, I mean, it's not rocket science, that's for sure. It's just a dirty job that probably nobody likes to do, and you can see why they charge so much to do it. But that's it. So until next time, happy camping.